Hakadosh Boker or Bekiim Bahalacha 3 day 70, page 144, Siman 11, Siman Yud Aleph, Halacha Mem Zayin. It was explained above in Halacha 21 that 8 strands in each tassel must have the length of at least 12 gudalim. So I already told you one more time, right? You have over here, this is the gadil, okay? This is problematic. I don't know what this is, right? This is the gadil, and this is the anaf, right? The untied tassels are called the anaf, right? Which is like a corner, right? Or the branch, right? Here is the gadil. Remember that you have to have gudal. A gudal is a thumb. Whenever we mention a thumb, 2 centimeters. So here it says like this. It says here that when you have the 8 strands in each tassel, okay, they must have the length of at least 12 gudalim, which means 24 centimeters. Meaning, when I'm going to come and I'm going to measure this, it's going to have 24 centimeters. Okay. Now he says here, if someone does not have a strand long enough to wind the customary number of coils and still have enough slack to equal that length, he may follow the alternative custom, which is doing 26. So that the strand, meaning like this. Let's say he's got very, very short ones. So now I have a technical problem. If I'm going to do 7, 8, 11, 13, and then I'm going to have this, I don't have the 24 centimeters. So what can you do? 10, 5, 6, 5, the 26. Instead of doing 39, which is 7, 8, 11, 13, I'm going to do 10, 5, 6, 5, Yud Ke Vav Ke, which is 26. Now, obviously, if I have 26, it's going to stop around here. Because instead of having 39, I have 26. So here, I've got much longer. And now I'm going to have the long one. So that for sure I could do. Okay? So he says, you may follow the alternative custom, winding only 26, so that the strand will be long enough. This solution may be employed even to a talit gadol. That means even though we brought down that the minhag was talit katan 26 and the talit gadol was 39, he says regarding a talit katan, this is a valid custom even if it's not needed. Meaning that was the minhag, and we brought down Vadia and this and that, right? I also do it. That was my rabbi also. Talit katan 26, talit gadol 39. Now again, if you buy them and they're already made, meaning that you're not making it yourself, so then the way that they make it, sometimes they make it 39 and sometimes they make it 26. It all depends, and both of them are kosher. It's not that it's not kosher, but if you're making it, right, you have to make sure that you're doing the talit katan you're doing for yourself 26 and talit gadol 29. The custom, what 39? Sorry, what was I? The custom of the Sephardic Jews is to knot the strand of after each coil. This helps to keep the loops intact and distinct. What does that mean? I don't know if you ever realized. Take the Ashkenazi ones. Look at this. Yeah, the Ashkenazim, right? No, right? Take a look at this. Right, the Ashkenazim. The way that they do it is everything is one after another. There's no coils. There's no. These sticking out. There's nothing. It's just around. Now, what happens is many times, right? The way that they do it, it comes up and down because there's nothing that's holding each one separate in place. So therefore, it's very. So the Sephardic Jews, they make a knot. Basically, they knot the strand after each coil. So each one they go around one coil. It's like they do it in a way that it becomes like a knot. So therefore, it keeps its place. Okay, and that's what it says. It keeps it distinct. 145 at the bottom. The Prisha complained that it is wrong to tie the strand after winding each loop, since it might be considered adding to the number of knots one is supposed to tie in the tassel. Nevertheless, Mamar Duchai testified that the common custom is to tie the strand after each one. He noted this was the custom also of Rav Yaakov ben Chaviv and brought down by the Bet Yosef. Right, Rav Yaakov emphasized that tying each strand in this way is not considered adding to the number of the tassels. Therefore, Mamar Duchai declared that the common custom is to do this. This side is also the Lacha Berurah Piskei Teshuvot. Nevertheless, Ashkenazim do not do it. Meaning, Ashkenazim don't do it. But technically speaking, there's no isur whatsoever. Now, again, the Havamina was that if you're adding each one, so it's a knot. Now you only have 5 knots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one is completely pasul. What do they do over here? Yeah, fine. So, but a person just has to have that in mind. Okay? Okay, let's go. Okay. Number 49. Yeah, sample scheme. They thought that the beauty of the tzitzit tassel is enhanced if all the knots are equidistant from one another. To achieve this, some people wind the first group of loops loosely, leaving some space between each one. They then wind each subsequent group, right, successive closer together. So the section with the 7 is as long as the 13. This is not essential, however, and the Rizal do not bother even to mention it, which means some people do that. I don't do that. Meaning like this. This is actually done like this, right? Look, pay attention. Okay, this one is the one that's not good. So let me take this one. Yeah? Yeah, I don't know what they did here. Okay, fine. Like this. You have 7. 7 is obviously very, very short. But do you realize there's a lot of space in between? Okay, 8 is the next one, right? It's a little bit closer. The 11 is much closer. And the 13 is supposed to be the closest, right? All the way to the end. Now, right, what's happening is, right, is as follows, right? What happens is that the beauty is if they're all the same size. Now, it doesn't make sense. How do I make one of 7 the size of 13? So he says the way that you do it is you make it with a lot of space in between. So if there's going to be a lot of space in between, so therefore the first one is going to be a lot of space. The second one, which is 8, less space. 11, basically no space, and 13, very tight, right? And by the way, so therefore it's going to be the same size, right? As I just said, the 7 they were making it with a lot of space. No, but the 13 you have to make it very, very tight because you want to make it. Let's say you're making 1 inch, right? Exactly, is a 7. So therefore, what you have to do is 7. You make it with a lot of spaces in between. Okay, that's what you're doing. What? So now he comes and he says this. So therefore, the reason HaKadosh never mentioned it. So let's see. The custom is mentioned by the Rosh. It is cited by in the Bet Yosef, the Magen Avraham, and the Mishabura. The Lechem Chamadot over testified that Shlomo Molchu was not careful to fashion the tzitzit in this manner. Kavachim Sofer was also pointed that there's no mention in the Shara Kavanot. Al Chabura also testified common custom is not to follow it, meaning we don't do this. Right? That means it's very, very nice. Yeah, that you're doing it. That we don't do it. You do normally 7, 8, 11, 13. Obviously, the 7 is much shorter. 11 is a little bit. The 8 is one longer. We don't do this. Okay, very good. Next, kesher between the kesher godal between the knots. Magen Avraham decided Mishabra and decided the Holy Zohar Kadosh, teaching the one should leave a space as long as the kesher godal between each pair of the overhead knots, right on the tassel. However, noted that Rizal Kadosh did not mention this. Torah Rabbi also said Rachai did not follow this, and see the Alachabra as well, which means that in between each one they will leave another like the 2 inches. We don't have that custom, and we don't do it. Right? Very simple. Fine. Next. Okay. Some people have another custom of dividing the loops into groups of 3, leaving a space between each group. You know who this is? There's a Ben Ish Chai on this. Ben Ish Chai wanted to say that, for example, 7, right? Or not, let's say 7, but let's say 13, whatever it is, it's going to be like 3, and then another 3, and then like basically they split it up. So what they do is after they do a group of 3, they'll do another like a shtick that will basically separate it, that it's going to be separate. So look in the 147. This is the teaching of the Rizal HaKadosh and Shara Kavanot, right? It's cited in Rav Zalman in the Shulchan Aruch. The procedures as follows. In the first section, one does 3 loops, leaves a short space, winds another 3 more. After leaving another short space, one does a single loop. That's going to be for the 7. Okay, after leaving, right, he says, ties the 2 knots, and then he's going to continue. Right, the single loop is counted together with the 2 to form a threesome. Right, although they are interrupted by the 2 overhead knots. One continues with this pattern, so that the first section is divided 3, 3, 1. Then it becomes, right, the second section is 2 and then 3, 3. Yeah? The third section is 3, 3, 3, 2. And the last one is going to be 1, 3, 3, 3, 3. Everyone understood what happened? One more time. I always want to make sure that it's always groups of 3. So now I have 7. How do I make 7 into 3? So I put 3, 3. What's left over? 1. Now what happens is that 1 is by itself. And then I have to make a double knot. Because here you have 7, and then I make a double knot. On the next one is 8. How do I make 8 into 3? I can't. So what do? Because I already had 1 at the end over here, I wanted to connect that 1 to become 3. How do I do it? Over here I do 2. I do the shtick, then 3, 3. So in the number 8, what I did was, in number 7, I did 3, 3, 1. In number 8, I did 2, 3, 3. Because that's how you have 8. And the 1 with the 2 are connected. That means even though I've got a pasek, because I've got this double knots in between, it doesn't matter. It's a group of 3. Yeah. But you don't have it here. No. You don't have it. Yeah? So therefore, he comes and he says that's the way that you're going to have it. Okay? Look at the footnote. So therefore, how do I do it? So again, the number 7, I've got 3, 3, 1. The number 8, 2, 3, 3. The number 11, 3, 3, 3, 2. Correct? 3, 6, 9. And then 2 is 11. And then the last one is going to be 1, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. 13. It's beautiful how again, it's very simple math. All you're trying to do is you always just want to make sure that you have three together. So the only way to do three together is doing this way. But 39 is divided by 3, obviously, right? But not 13, not 11, not 8, and not 7. None of them are divided by 3. Okay? Fine. The Sharet Tshuva commented that the common custom does not follow this practice. The Mishabura did not bother to mention it either. Okay? Fine. Okay, if I remember correctly, I think it was a Ben Ish Chai, right? I just don't remember. I do not recall the. Yes, Ben Ish Chai has 3. There you have it. Look in the one of the Ben Ish Chai. In the picture of the Ben Ish Chai, right, you have it. It's divided. If you look in the Tchelet, you could see the Tchelet. Sorry. I don't know. Okay. No, you guys, okay. Anyway, I sent it on the chat. You see it on the chat. If you look at the Ben Ish Chai, you have over there, you have the 3, and then 1. That's in the Tchelet. Then you have again 2. Then you have 3, 3. You can actually see it. Right? 2 and then the 3, 3. And then you have the 3, 3, 3, 2. And then you have the 1 and then 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Okay, you have it there. So that's what you have it. Which one? What does it mean, Acharon?
Meaning, if you look from where it says Ben Ish Chai and then the piece of wood, right?
Halacha number 50, when pressed for time. If someone does not have enough time to fashion the tzitzit with the customary number of the knots, for example, it's Friday afternoon right before sunset, or it's just before Shachrit on a weekday and he doesn't have another talit, he may for the tzitzit, right, with the basic deal of 3 loops, 2 overhead knots, and then we wear the talit. It is best to begin with the 2 overhead knots and then wind the 3 loops and tie 2 more overhead knots. This is because some poskim ruled that the first knots are the genuine Torah requirement, right? So he says on another occasion, right, when he has more time, he should fashion the tassels according to the custom, right? If he fails to do this, even when he has the time, he's guilty of disobeying our sages' rules. Okay, fine. Okay, he just says it was already explained above. Halacha 51. Some poskim ruled that it is important to have all 8 strands of each tassel of equal length. This looks neater and beautifies the mitzvah. If the strands, right, he says, if the strands are different lengths, the tassels are still kosher. Likewise, in order to beautify the mitzvah, one should use the strands of medium thickness and not thin like threads or thick like ropes, meaning like this. These are the thick ones. There's thin, and then there's the medium. So he says, don't use the thick, don't use the too thin, use medium, and that they should have the same length at the end. At the end of the length, usually you don't have. Look, this is too short, longer, even longer, even. Usually they should try to be the exact same. Okay, that's what he's trying to say. After winding, obviously, but when it finishes, it's not. So after winding all the loops and tying all the knots, right, of the tassel, one may cut the strands if they are longer than desired or if they are an uneven lengths. Nevertheless, the tzitziot are not disqualified if the strands are different lengths, meaning it's only beauty. So even if it's going to be longer, it doesn't matter. Okay? Fine. Okay? Now it says over here like this. As mentioned above, halacha number 52, as mentioned above in halacha 20, many people have the custom of tying a knot at the end of each tzitzit strand to prevent them from unraveling. The custom, right, of the Arizal was to tie these knots. Some poskim ruled that it's best not to do this, which means like this. Here, you don't have it. But some people, they come and they make a little bun and on. So he comes and he says the custom of the Arizal was to make it, but some poskim say that it's better not to do it. Okay, so obviously not to do it. So again, you have both. You have both what to do.